If you are towing toys in the garage in our toy hauler or any toy hauler, it's usually better to unload them while still attached to the tow vehicle. It's much more stable. You don't risk putting too much weight on the tongue and lifting up the nose of the camper. It doesn't usually happen, but it could, and you just don't want things to get away from you. Now that you're parked in your site, all of your leveling equipment, blocks, etc., are located in the front quarter. On this camper, you have a handy level. Now the ball on this one will drop to the lower side. You're just a little bit off, and you're fairly level on that side. So what we're going to do is we have some leveling boards that we can roll underneath the tires. On this side, and that will level off the camper. What I like to do is put the board on the wheels about where you want it, because this is where I want my camper. Then we're going to back the vehicle up just far enough to be away from the boards. You're going to slide the boards straight in, and then you're going to drive them back onto the boards. That way you're in the same spot that you want it to be. All right, I rolled onto my board. I'm a lot more level. Never going to get it perfect. Not exactly centered in the board, but good enough to have both wheels on. One wheel isn't hanging off the back of the board or the front of the board, creating forward or reverse pressure. Next step you're going to want to do is you're going to want to put your locks on your wheels, which is what we got. Like that. The reason you want to do this first before you detach your delivery vehicle is that way it doesn't roll. If you're on some kind of an angle or in a hole, it doesn't roll anywhere, and everything will stay stationary so you can finish your setup. Now that I have my wheel locks tightened, I am ready to level and remove the tow vehicle. Don't put any of the stabilizer jacks down until the vehicle's removed and you're ready to level. I use these blocks to help distribute the weight of the tongue, the stabilizer jacks, etc., from sinking in the ground if you get a lot of rain, etc., etc. Just keeps them much more stable, less rocking the camper, if you know what I mean. If you have your anti-sway control still on, this is where you would leave yourself attached to your tow vehicle. You would raise the camper up to relieve the pressure, take your bars off, and put all of the parts back to where they belong. Otherwise, you end up with a missing one because it fell off. Once you have your tow vehicle removed, use your up and down to get the bubble on the side and the center. Once you have that, you have your left and right centered and your forward and back centered. It's time to put your stabilizers in. Tighten the stabilizers down fairly tight, but they are not lifting jacks. They are not leveling jacks. They are stabilizer jacks. They're just there to keep a much more stable feeling when you're walking around the camper. Hook on your handle, tighten down until you get pressure and it lifts slightly. Go all the way around and then double check, and then you're good. Now that I have my stabilizers tightened to the ground, free to hook up your power and your water. And on the end of our water hose, we have a filter so you have nice clean water. So you just hook this up to whatever hose or spigot they have. The black thing is a pressure release. So if the campground overpressures, this little valve in here will open and release the pressure so you don't overpressure the camper and damage the hoses. Now you're free to put out your slide outs, your awnings, carpets all your goodies.